Test 1, 2. Okay, we're good. What's going on, guys? It's your boy here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm coming at you with the part 2 of my entire showcase. If you missed the first part, I showcased 5 of my 9 binders, excluding my Edison ones, my staple, my 2 extra deck binders, and 2 of my decors, which are in my green binders. Matter of fact, let's actually finish off with the green binder first before I get myself completely lost track on what I've done. And then we'll go into the rest of the red binders. So yeah, I got to get this done before a certain time, so let's get things moving. If you guys going to enjoy the rest of this, let me know down below. Comment what you thought about my entire collection. I know a couple of people have already started letting me know about the collection on the last episode. Why is this not standing still? Is it lopsided or something? Stop moving. I'm sorry for this. Why is this moving? Okay, let me fix this real quick. There we go. All right, let's get started. So for the second one, we're starting off with nostalgia. This one is my Blue Eyes collection. I already have plans of replacing these 3 Blue Eyes with the new chibi Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I have enough of the new Blue Eyes stuff to literally have 2 full sets at least of the deck. And this is because I like to prime my Blue Eyes, and I like having it as a different engine. So I have enough here. There's 1 set of extra Blue Eyes, common ones, so I don't want to ruin my higher rarity ones, which will be replaced with the chibi ones that I will be using. 6 maiden white. Then I have my Sage with Eyes of Blue up here. 2 from Legendary Collection Kaiba Corp. And 1 Platinum Secret from, I believe, Rarity Collection 4. Yep. Then I have 1 of each of Kaiba, like Blue Eyes Evolution, Alternative White, Abyss, and Dragon Spirit of White, which are the 3 main relevant ones. Then we have 2 copies of the White Stone of Ancients and the White Stone of Legend, which are relevant to Blue Eyes, but I actually haven't used them in the newer format. Then we have over here Priestess with Eyes of Blue, Master with Eyes of Blue, and then the new card that just came out, Kaiba Man, the Legend, which is pretty much the new reason why you can now want to play 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon in your main deck. And the artwork is insane. Followed up by 2 copies of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. And then, like I mentioned in the last one, I consider this part of the Blue Eyes stuff now because you can search it off of the Dragon Spirit wishes. And that's Chiwen, Light of the Yang Zing. And it basically counteracts any light mirror match you'll have. 3 copies of Neo Kaiser Seahorse. And actually, I want to do something real quick. Better. There we go. Not as much glare. All right. Continuing on. My extra copies of Wishes. All set. I even have one here that is misprinted. There's a whole straight line that's going across through it, and that's a printing error. So, in a way, I kind of have a misprinted Wishes. Obviously, Burst Stream, Roar with the Eyes of Blue, Ultimate Creature of Destruction, Majesty's True Light, Ultimate Fusion, Mausoleum of Whites. And then this is what I'm more proud about. 3 copies of the original art Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, they're not the more expensive one. 2 of them are from CT13, which I don't remember which set that is. And technically they were, like, I guess, near mid, less very lightly played. But this one, I actually opened up recently from the new OTS pack 28. And this guy's currently was at $100. I don't know where he's at now, but that shine is phenomenal. I got rid of my one that wasn't like these 2. It was from a different set, just so I could keep this one instead, because that is clean. 3 Dragon's Mind, which is a newer card, but it counter works for Blue Eyes and anything with the 2500 attack monster or defense. Then I have Blue Eyes, Chaos Dragon, Chaos Form, and Quarter Century alternate art Blue Eyes, Chaos Max Dragon, which is a ridiculously shiny card, and I love it. I don't know why people hate on the card, because Chaos Max was a bad card at one point, but I loved it, and I always will. 3 copies of Primite Aether Barrel, technically honorary Blue Eyes card, because this is the best deck to play with Primite cards. 3 Lordy Load, 3 Drill Beam. And on the back, the new Primite Fusion card, which is really changing the game of how Blue Eyes is actually played. And you'll see this card being showcased in its updated profile, which is coming out soon. But the artwork is kind of sick. Of course, Imperial, Bingo Machine Go, Revelation of Hope, which I just mentioned, the last one, which can summon the Indigo and the number 107. Synchro Rumble for when I mix it with Crimson Dragon. And then we are on to the next engine, which is actually Dark Magician. I have a Dark Magician deck in here. Magician of Black Chaos Max is part of it. This one actually is part of the Dragon, but I put it here because it just lines up good with spells. But this is actually technically part of Blue Eyes. Saga of the Dragon Emperor. It's a hidden tech that most people don't know. 1 copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon in here for the Dark Magician stuff, because I use it for Dragoon, and it's also nostalgia to go along with the other ones. Plus, this apparently this alt art is worth something. Then I have my triple variety Dark Magicians, excluding the ones I keep in my Edison binder, like that one I showcased last one that's beat to hell. But all 3 of these are different arts of Dark Magician. And I'm pretty sure 2 of them are Plat Secret and 1's Quarter Century. I think this is Plat Secret, and I don't know if this is Plat Secret too. Yes, this is Plat Secret too. These 2 are Plat Secret, and then this one's Quarter Century. And then, of course, to pair that off, I have 3 copies of Magician Souls and 3 copies of Illusion of Chaos. And on the back, triple Soul Servant. Plat Secret, regular. The Eye of Timaeus. 2 Magician Rod. Another copy of Eye of Timaeus. Plat Secret, regular. Dark Magic Attack, 1,000 Knives. 3 copies of Secrets of Dark Magic. 1 copy of Timaeus, the United Dragon, which really is this outside of the spell card. So, 2 Illusion Magic, 3 Common Dark Magic Circle, and on the back I have 2 Dark Magic Circle in that rarity form. If I don't want to play 3, I just play those 2. But if I want to play 3, I play the other ones. 2 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician, 1 copy of Dark Magician Girl in Plat Secret, I believe. Yeah, that's Plat Secret. And 1 regular Dark Magician Girl. And then I have Dark Burning Attack, Dark Burning Magic, and the card that's on the way is Bond Between Teacher and Student, which I finally found a decent deal on that's not outrageous and in near mint condition too. 3 copies of Magician's Salvation, 1 copy of Magic Lies Fusion, 2 Eternal Soul, 1 copy of Combination, 2 copies of Magician's Navigation. And that's in Dark Magician deck. Next up is Punk. Copies of Xiamen, 1 Madame Spider, 1 Sharkuzai. And here is Wakagoin, who's on his way in the mail. I wanted to have one that's not with the stamped. 3 copies of Rising Scale, brand new card. This deck profile is also coming out soon. 3 copies of Ogre Dance, Foxy Tunes, 1 Deer Note. I remember when this stuff first came out. I loved it when it first came out. Don't know why I got rid of the original set, probably because it fell off, and then it came back. Then we have Wild Picking, and Crash Beat. On the back, we have Extreme Session and Dangerous Gagari. And then this is a new stuff that all of this came out of Duelist Advance. And this is this new Psychic engine, which honestly, if you know from my Edison's, if you ever seen my Edison miner, like I loved Psychic in the past. Like I have Thought Royal Archfiends, Magical Androids, and I loved that archetype in the past so much. Even the Hyper Psychic Blaster Assault mode. That was a crazy card to play. But this new Psychic engine actually pairs really well with Punk, and you'll see that in the profile. We have, and I'll explain their effects when we get to the profile. But I'm trying to save time, so we're just going to go with their names. And yeah, we have the 1 Hushed Psychic Minister in here, 3 copies of Prototype Psychic Blaster, 3 Serene Psychic Girl, and the one that is over here is Mind Producer, which is also from Duelist Advance. I just never pulled one, apparently, because it's a super. Then we have Teleport Fusion, Parallel Teleport. Technically it's 2 Teleport Fusion and 1 Parallel Teleport. This lets you fusion summon Psychic Fusion monsters from your extra deck by banishing Psychic monsters from your hand or graveyard as material. I mean, not hand, field or graveyard. And then this can let you tribute a Psychic monster and special summon that same level Psychic monster from your deck. Pretty good, and obviously 3 staple E-Telly. And any Psychic deck is pretty much used. Then we have Memento. I'm pretty sure this is another deck that I have not posted on my channel. I will have to do that profile at some point. I put it away just simply because it's one of the decks that I'm going to be putting on side for a little bit, even though it's pretty dang good. If I do end up going to Natch, though, I might end up consider taking Memento as one of mine because it is a very powerful deck. All revolved around spinning the big boss monster out. This 5,000 behemoth that you can literally loop like crazy. And it's just one of that you can summon that is absolutely insane. Momentolan Tuchika combined creation. And you have to summon it by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your graveyard and or your hand into the deck / Escher deck. And you pretty much just want to play, like, there's only a few that you want to play 3 ofs. Like, for example, the Tsuchinuko, Darkblade, and Anguish. And occasionally, if you really want to roll it, the Memento Goblin. Although, really, there's, like, ratios that goes, like, 1 combined creation, 1, 1, 1, as, like, the only ones you play 1 of. But here's Horn Dragon, Akihiron, 3 Tatsu no Toshigo, 3 Dark Blade, Anguish, Sleepy, Mace, Triple Goblin. And if you notice, they're all retrained of normal monsters from the ancient past. This one's Dark Blade, obviously, 1815. Horn Dragon is Tri-Horn Dragon. I think Anguish is Sandwich? No, not Sandwich. Oh my god. Like, room. Cannot remember. I think Sleepy is Mystic Sheep number 2. And I cannot remember the rest of them for the life of me. But they're basically all retrained vanillas. Then we have Mentolin Gaddick here. A lot of people only play one because it's a brick otherwise. Believe it or not, I love playing two because I cannot tell you how many times I've drawn this card, and I hate doing the normal summon play to get it out of the hand. So I like playing two. One copy of the Goblin Biker Grand Entrance. And the reason why Goblin Biker is because it actually is part of the Memento stuff. Like, you want to play Grand Breakout to summon out the Memento and Goblin from the deck as an extra extender, and then Doug Charger searches it. So I tend to consider part of the Memento deck because I usually use it in the Memento deck, and I don't use it for anything else. I don't even think... I do have other Goblin Biker stuff, but I just don't use it for anything else. 3 Memento Fusion. Finally got upgraded rarities from the OTS. Thank God. 3 copies of Memento and Bone Party. 1 copy of Bone Back. 1 Cranium Burst. And 1 copy of Fracture Dance. And on the back here, 2 copies of the Field Spell. Memento Lamictillin. Believe it or not, that is its name. Memento Victillin. This is another new deck. This is pretty much the opposite of Kashtira. This is Regenesis. It's a weird one. Like, you have to either reveal or have a monster on your field with 2,500 attack, original attack or defense. And then you can special summon from your hand. Obviously, there's Regenesis Lord, which is like the main boss. The 3 best normal summon and like starter. This was actually a promo for when Alliance Insight came out. This is Regenesis Archfiend. We have Regenesis Warrior, Dragon, and Sage. And the reason we only have like names of one-ofs is because if they're sent to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you get to add them back to your hand during the end phase, which is really cool. 3 Regenesis, which is like reinforcing the army for the deck. 3 Regenesis Code. This card locks you out of the extra deck, but it's still a mandatory card. 1 copy Regenesis Command. New card, like it. If you activate it with all the Regenesis cards in the same column, pretty much negates everything. Really cool. 2 copies of Regenesis Birth. This card brings back... you send it to the graveyard and special summon any number of Regenesis from your graveyard in defense position, and that they get sent to the graveyard during the end phase, which means you get them back to your hand. Next up, it's the 6 Samurais. Yeah, I've posted a 6 Samurai profile on my channel before. See my entire collection of 6 Samurais. The newest tuners are Tactical Trainer of the 6 Samurai and Anarchist Monk of the 6 Samurai. Both have crazy good effects when they're used for synchro summoning to make a 6 Samurai. Then we have 3 copies of Kageki. 3 of the most rotated, reused and resummoned as many times as freaking possible card. 3 copies of Kizan. 2 copies of Secret 6 Samurai Kizaru. And I believe... Yep. This is the original Kizaru from Spirit Warriors. 2 Misao. 2 Shinai. Blue and red. You know the blue and red combo, then I don't need to explain much for 6 Samurais. But the blue and red combo is legendary in the 6 Samurais. No pun intended, even though they're legendary 6 Samurais. But it is a legendary combo. Then we have Secret 6 Samurai Hatsume. Grandmaster, a.k.a. Old Man Whitebeard. Great Shogun Shien, which is most commonly known for its being being able to activate 1 spell or trap. The 1 copy of Fuma, which is pretty much used to summon out of the deck 1 time out of the Shin's Dojo. Then we have Squire in case we run into do the Churia Beast. 1 copy of Gate of the 6. Legendary Secret of the 6 Samurai. Genba and Spirit of the 6 Samurai, along with Hand of the 6 Samurai. Then we have the new 6 Strike Quick Play spell, which is Double Assault, 3 Shien's Dojo, and 3 copies of 6 Samurai United. And it still goes on, because on the back we have 3 copies of Shien's Smoke Signal, which lets us add level 3 or lower 6 Samurai, great for getting Kigeki in the hand. Triple Cunning of the 6 Samurai, which is really cool to dodge around opponents' hand traps or attacks. Then we tend to the ones that I don't need to play multiple copies of, but are actually still pretty good, and I pretty much used Asceticism and Sextuple Barrage the most recently. But I have Triple Impact, obviously I said Asceticism. This is Secret Skills of the 6 Samurai. Musakani Magatama, and believe it or not, it is a 6 Samurai card, and then 6 Tupel Barrage, and then Chamberlain of the 6 Samurai in case I ever wanted to play the Primite version of this deck, which is meh. And along with the other Primite cards, because they're in here but I just didn't know where else to put them, are also Duston and Dippity, which are 2 cards used for the Primite version. And then here is just a small engine. I don't know where else I could have put it, because I had to get rid of the rest of my Rescue Ace deck in order to get the Malice deck. But I just have this engine here in case I ever want to use it in a deck, and that's just 3 Impulse and 1 Fire Attacker. On the back, polymerization engine. I do have third Egypt chain, but I like the ratio of 2, 3, and 2 a lot of the times. Even in branded, actually, I did that. I think the only time I excluded that was when I had to play the third Egypt chain at one point, but I never went over 2 polymerization because the third polymerization always was a brick. But 2 King of the Swamp, 3 Patchwork, 2 Egypt chain, 2 polymerization, or at least what I keep in here for the binder wise. Then we have the Morganite engine, and this needs to get, I need to make room for more copies of Morganite stuff. Might have to put it at the end somewhere. But this needs to get upgraded because I need to put in 2 more copies of Guilt Gripping Morganite and a 3rd copy of Morgana, which is the newest cards, and they are both actually really good. Like, this, being able to summon this and then search off any of the Morganite spells is actually, like, really good. And if you have 3 or more Morganite spells or different names in your graveyard or banish, you can, like, change your opponent, change the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls to 0. So she's, like, insane. And all 3 of the Morganite spells are really good. You just can't use any, like, monster hand traps in your hand. So you might as well be playing Stun deck at that point, honestly. Then, I mentioned this is my Paleozoic deck. The only 2 monsters I pretty much pay in Paleozoic are the 1 copy of Magic Total Soul and this Pendulum Dragon statue. Really, it's pretty much that. The 1 card of Demise is in here because I'm pretty sure this is the only deck I've actually used card of Demise for. But yeah, Paleozoic stuff. Deinamiscus, Morelia. I always pronounce this card wrong. Leon Cholila? Canada, Canadia, and Oleandus. Paired up with 3 copies of Needlebug Nest, Rise to Full Height, Trap Tricks, Accumulated Fortune, which is a really old card, same for Hope with Escape, and Balance of Judgment. All of these cards are, like, I'm pretty sure they're super old. Yeah, this is SDTV. This is Core, and this one is CDIP. I don't even know what that one is. CDIP. I don't remember that. Then we have more Stun. There are 3 copies of Destructive Dorma Cannon, 3 copies of Inspector Border in Alti form. Then we have a new card that gets added to Stun, believe it or not. This card just came out of Duelist Advance, I believe. Trying to zoom in for it. For a player to normal summon a monster from their hand with more than 1350 attack or defense and an original level of 4 or lower, they must tribute summon it by tributing 1 monster. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a light monster, you can destroy that monster. So essentially, it's allied risk attacker for a level 4. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 monster with 1350 attack from your deck to your hand, which means you can search it. It doesn't exclude itself. You can only use this effect of Leo Wizard the Dark Fiend once per turn. So this card essentially is like a lock on anything that's stable. Meaning your opponent can only summon stuff like, believe it or not, Malice, because it's under 1350. But if they summon anything more than 1350, they have to tribute. Then we have my Runic Engine. This is probably the one extra deck cards I do not keep in my extra deck binder because I can't tell you how many times I misplaced those, and I just want the Runic stuff with the Runic stuff, and that's it, because I never want to get rid of the Runic stuff. I want to make sure I always have the Runic the engine available. So that's why I keep Hugin, Moonin, 2 Garys, and Sleipnir in here with the Runic Engine, and not in my extra deck binder. Obviously 2 found because it's limited to 2. If it comes back to 3 ever, I'll get the 3rd. But obviously the rest of the Runic spells: Tip, Flashing Fire, Destruction, Freezing Curses, Slumber, 1 Allure, 1 Smithing Storms, and 1 Dispelling. Pretty straightforward. Then I have Crackdowns, Lose a Turn, another copy of Terraforming, 1 Day at Peace, and a copy of Card Scanner to round off for the stun. And that's the last green binder. All right, let's crack on the red ones. This one is probably the one I'm most proud about. It's my Gladiator Beast binder. This is a binder collected of my rest of my staples and 2 engines and deck cores. Like, I treasure Gladiator Beast because it's my favorite Edison deck. Like, if it's right up there, like tied for Zombie Synchro, and this deck is like tied for first place. And Gladiator Beast just has it won by a bit's margin because I love this deck. I'm not kidding when I say I spent a lot of time making sure I had like extra copies of every single one of the Gladiator Beasts so that way I never run out if they ever get damaged, because I plan on playing this deck a long time. And an updated profile for this is coming out very soon. But yes, 3 copies of the newest Gladiator Beast, which lets us get a double battle phase. 2 triple copies of Gladiator Beast Claudius. Then we have Dominatus, who dominates the battlefield by choosing your opponent's monster attacks on your own monsters. So you can basically have them all run into Dominatus. And you also get an Omni Negate, Omni Monster Negate. Yes? No? Yes, Monster Negate. Double Heraclinos from 2 different sets. This one is from Legendary Collection GX, and this one is the first copy that was actually reprinted and worth like $80 in Near Make Edition, which it is, and that's from Gladiator Assault Heraclinos. Then we have 1 copy of Neurokios. Double copies of Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor, which is the best Gladiator Beast fusion you can go into, which lets you cheat out the rest of the Gladiator Beast fusion monsters, except Claudius, which I never like doing, because Claudius has to be fusion summoned using its own ability, so that we get the extra double battle phase. Then we have 1 copy of Andabeta, 1 copy of Dimakari, 2 copies of Gyzaurus. The other copies are in my Edison binder. These are the only 2 I keep in my main binder, so that way I can use them for actual events. 3 copies of the new Gladiator Beast Link monster, which is a really good card, and that is triple copies of Gladiator Beast Darius. I'm pretty sure I have 20 card, excluding the ones that are in here. Double copies of Gladiator Beast. I wouldn't have ordered the old original ones, but in a way I kind of needed the old original ones anyway, because I needed them for an Edison tournament, which I actually was able to post because on my channel. So if you want to go see that profile of my Edison Gladiator Beast deck, you can go back and watch that. I need to make sure I remember if I uploaded a copy of the updated, like, current version of Gladiator Beast, which I think I did, but I have to double check that. Double copies of Gladiator Beast Bestiar from the Legendary Collection GX. I know I'm missing the Ghost Rare. If you know how much that Ghost Rare is, you know why probably I don't have it. But trust me, if I ever find a way to get the copy of the Ghost Rare without breaking my bank, believe me, I'm getting it. Then we have 2 copies of Sagittari, and this is from Gladiator Assault, by the way, and this is from the Maze of Memories. So this is the one I will currently use. These are ones that are usually staying in the binder. Occasionally, I'll take out this one. 3 copies of Noxious, 1 Spartacus, which I'm pretty sure the only Gladiator Beast I don't own is Alexander. Whatever one the tiger is that comes, they can only summon off of Demakari. It's like the only Gladiator Beast I don't have. Simply because I never actually, I think I only played it on the the DS game and the online. Otherwise, I never even touched the card. 3 copies of Gladiator Beast Gistle. And 2 copies of Gladiator Beast Pompomus. This one's from Gladiator Salt, and this one's from Legendary Collection GX. That's pretty much the only times the other 2 guys were like reprinted alt art wise. Then we have some of my favorites. This is the OG Rotari. This one is from the Turbo set 03. And then the newer copies of Rotari, thank God it got reprinted, because otherwise this card was like $22 a piece because it only had gotten printed like twice, and they were both very old sets. This one is just a regular one from the Maze of the Masters. But this one here, boy, I got that CR. I pulled this jaunt, and this thing is fire. Like, legit, it is a gorgeous CR. But that card is staying right there where it belongs. Then we have Thorax, which is probably much like the one Gladiator Beast that actually just flops alongside with Alexander. But the reason why I have Thorax in here is because, believe it or not, I needed a 1 point for its extra typing. And I never wanted to get rid of it after that point. That's pretty much why it's in here. 2 copies of a Thorax, which is a key card now because you can dump a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck or extra deck, and you get the level and the name, which is Peak, in order to summon the Tamer Editor. Double Murillo. This one is from the Turbo 01. And then again, Legendary Collection GX. Double Testate, pretty much Joey Wheeler inside a container. Or, what was the monkey called in GX, like in the first few uppers? Wheeler. It literally was called Wheeler. 3 Test Bear. And triple Test Tiger. 1 from the Legendary Collection GX, which I need to re-up the other 2 ones from. And Raw Yellow Mega Pack. Test Bear is the newer one. It is a card you play 1 of, but I wanted 3 because of my collection. 1 Secutar. This thing is so old, and yes, it's from Gladiator Assault still, that some of its text is faded, if you can see. Like, that's how old this one is. But I still use it because I do not want to ruin the near mint condition one from the Legendary Collection GX, and it is a beautiful Secutor. Then we have the Gladiator Beast spells. Triple Gladiator Beast Proving Ground. 1 OG, 2 are the newer ones, simply because I wanted to have both at my availability. 3 copies of the Broken New Field spell, which is 20 times better than Coliseum of the Gladiator Beast, but this one's being played in Edison, which is why I have it here. But it doesn't have any room in my Edison binder for it, but that's why I put it here. 3 copies of Flavian Coliseum of the Gladiator Beast. 2 copies of Respite. 3 Gladiator Beast Comeback, which is the monster reborn that is not once per turn. 3 copies of Rejection. Prevents your Gladiator Beast being targeted. And if you summon one from the deck, you get to summon another one from your deck that's a different name. Hence why I needed Thorax. 3 copies of Gladiator Beast Unite. Fusion spell for it. Then we have Battle Halberd. 1 copies of Return. 1 copy of Return. 1 copy of, hold on, Gladiator Pneumakia. I just say Pneumankina at some points. 3 copies of Gladiator Beast War Chariot. 2 from Raw Yellow Mega Pack, and 1 copy from Turbo Duelist Generation Series. 2 copies of Charge, and then the Tri-Brigade stuff is in here because there's actually a very good variant of playing Tri-Brigade Gladiator Beasts, and that was like really before the newer support came out, and even with the newer support for Gladiator Beasts, you could still play a pretty good Tri-Brigade engine in it, which is why the whole Tri-Brigade engine is here, and that's like, even though I don't need it, I have the Gladiator Beasts Revolt, 3 Fractal, 3 Kit, 3 Nerval. And on the back, 2 Keras. Then I have a Plat Secret Test Tiger. An extra set of Gistles, in case I ever need the backup copies. 3 copies of Fire Formation 10 Key. 3 Harpy's Featherstorm. 3 copies of Mission of the Gnomes. And then we are starting from those Mission of Gnomes. We are onto the Staples, which is the other ones outside of my white binder. Which is why I have my 3 Crows in here, because they're also part of Edison. My mass amounts of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. I have 4 sets of common Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and 1 common set of the feet version. And I say feet because it's all people crazy about the feet. But I just wanted it because it was in higher rarity, and I never wanted to actually get it, but I actually open them out of rarity 4. Which is why they're in here. 3 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison, because it's used in one of the art and decks that are coming up, which is another one of my favorites. I have only 7 copies of Draw and Lock Bird in my collection, and I filled out the other slots with 1-for-1 and Ghost Trick Shot because I couldn't fit them in my other binder, and they weren't a 3 of. Nibiru's, the 9 Rock Meteors, and then comes my second named avatar, which is Alista the Invoker. This boy, I have had this one from Fuin, this set of ones from Fuin, since I can remember. I was able to get upgraded rarities recently from Shadows in Valhalla, but I had this set of Alistair the Invokers pretty much since the dang card came out. I can't be honest with you. And then, of course, they got reprinted with an alt art and this, but I just have them in here for the show. Never really use it. Then I have 4 copies of Magical Meltdown. The Codebreaker 0 Day, which is actually the card I mentioned with the Link Monsters, which I thought was in my white one, but it's actually back here. Destrudo, the Last Dragon's Vision. And then we have 4 Invocation. 3 of the blue, because I love the blue background. But this alt art one, is really spicy. Like that Red Devil form, oh my god. Then it's the Odeon deck, or as what Konami likes to refer to as Tomb Keeper, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's what they do. Then we have Odeon. This deck I took to the Philly regionals, which is my first regional I've ever gone to, and it was a blast. 3 copies of The Man with the Mark. 3 copies of Anubis the Last Judge. I did have to downgrade my CRs. I needed cash for a bill, so I had to downgrade. But I got the other rarities. Don't hate me for that. Same thing with Circuit. Like I had a CR of each one of these 3, and I had to get rid of those. Yeah. So Anubis the Last Judge. 1 copy of Merciless Scorpion of Circuit. Mystical Beast of Circuit. Defense of the Temple, which is the only fusion spell we need, and that's why the Circuits are here, outside from Merciless. Like, this is here because you want to use it to make the fusion monster, if you play the fusion. 3 copies of Treasures of the Kings. 2 copies of original Temple of the Kings. Really missed the fact when this card was broken enough that you can activate more than 1 trap set a turn. Like, that was broken time. 1 copy of Verdict of Anubis. A new card that just got released from Duelist Advance is Sudden Thunder Swamp. Now, it doesn't sound it at first, but believe it or not, this card is designed for decks like Eldritch and Odeon because its effect revolves around continuous trap monsters. When it's activated, you can discard a card, and if you do, set 1 continuous trap from your deck or graveyard with the effect that can special summon itself as a monster, except the discard itself. Except the discarded card they use to activate Thunder Swamp. If a card you control is destroyed in battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard or banished face up, you can target one of them, add 1 card with the same name from your deck to your hand. you can only use this effect of Sudden Thunder Swamp once per turn. You can only activate one Sudden Thunder Swamp per turn. Do you have any idea how good that recursion is on that last effect? Insane. Then we have my Trap Monster engines. One copy of Statue of Anguish pattern. Again, thank you, Jared, for giving me this card before the Philly Regionals. Otherwise, I would have not done as well as I did. 2 copies of Embodiment of Apophis, not the reprinted one. These ones are from Duelist Terminal 6. And that's why they're in here. I have a shit ton of common ones, but I do not like playing them because I like the Duelist Terminal ones. 3 copies of Apophis the Serpent. Triple copies of Apophis the Swamp Deity, which is like Fiendsmith's Desiree. Multiple negates. Triple copies of Quantum Cat in here because if I ever want to do the Harpy's Featherstorm on them, Quantum Cat is necessary for that. 1 copy of Nemesis Elephant, Angel Statue Azarune, and 1 copy of Silhouette Trick. And as you can tell, the other one of my favorite, I'm pretty sure it's the second to last favorite deck. Second to last main one is Gem Knights. If you know the Gem Knights got recent support, you know that this is about to be upgraded. And I cannot wait to show you the Gem Knight profile that's coming out soon. Oh my god, I have been on a tear with that deck. 3-1 on my first locals with that one. Like, literally, that was the first time I took it to a tournament. And then I brought it to my team for the 3v3. And the only time I lost in that entire tournament was to Vanquishal. So, yeah. And we started off with, I've had this oldest stuff from Gem Knight. Like, I had this stuff sitting in my under $100 binder way, way before the reprint stuff came out. It was one of my favorite fusion decks to play. And I actually used it in a $100 tournament, but I never wanted to post the profile because it was like, I don't think people wanted to see under $100 decks. Like, I wanted to see competitive stuff. But now that I know that as a more fully fledged channel producer, I know that you guys like seeing pretty much any Yu-Gi-Oh content. And this is what I mean by I literally have OG copies. Probably the one I still haven't gotten a good old set of is Gem Knight Garnet. People want to say, just play a Garnet before. Like, this is what they refer to as Gem Knight Garnet. It was just a 1900 beat stick. But yeah, 3 Garnet. 3 copies of Gem Knight Sapphire from the Hidden Arsenal 5. This is also from Hidden Arsenal 5, and that's Gem Knight Tourmaline. All these are original sets. Gem Knight Crystal. Apparently never had a copy of this before. Probably because it was terrible in the past, but I have one now. This Alexandria is from Duelist Terminal. The Duelist Terminal one is so hard to get a hands of nowadays. I'm so happy I have that one now. Gem Knight Emerald. I know I'm missing stuff like Amber and whatever the Aqua Gemini one is like. I know I'm missing some Gem Knights. Trust me, I'm working on getting them if I find good conditions of them. 3 copies of Gem Knight Neprim, which is the new one. I will explain these guys' effects in the deck profile. But just trust me, this card is a crazy one. Same with this one, and that's Holocore. And they both are absolutely cracked out their mind. Gem Knight Quartz. Old one from Power of the Elements, but is actually the 3rd one that you play 3 of in the new version. The upgraded version. And it is crazy good. 3 copies of Gem Knight Obsidian, all from one from them from Hidden Arsenal 6. 2 from Hidden Arsenal 6, and 1 from Abyss AP08. I don't know what AP08 is. 2 copies of Gem Knight Lazuli from Hidden Arsenal 7. An auto rarity gem card because it has gem in the name, but it actually is pretty relevant to it, is Cartofrin, the Hidden Gem of the Serpent. Is not played in the Gem Knight deck profile unless you're doing the Heavy Rock one, which you'll see why I talked about Heavy Rock at the end of this. The normal summon for Gem Knights, which I now got copies of because of the reprints, Gem Armadillo. Then we have Brilliant Rose and Crystal Rose. Crystal Rose, being able to send a Gem Knight or Melodious monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard to special summon it. Thank God for Tyler Ludwig finding this at Unmatched. This card is hard to get a hand of, and I did not want to have to order it online, so thank him for finding this for me. And then we have 2 copies of Brilliant Rose, which is always counted as a Gem Knight card. And these roses have been putting in the absolute work for me when I've been using this deck. Then I have Gem Elephant and Gem Turtle in here simply because of their names. I know Merchant is also a gem card, but I've actually never used Merchant, so that's why he's not in here. Then we have the spells and traps. We have Gem Knight Dispersion, the new fusion spell. Again, I will explain it when that profile comes out. 2 of the OG Gem Knight fusions, which I had from back then, and then its new alt art one that just came out from BLMM. 3 copies of Absorb Fusion. 1 from the original core set, which I have the other 2 around here, but I'm currently upgrading them rarity-wise to the ones that came out of BLMM because it's just 1 rarity higher. Scatter Fusion and Brilliant Fusion and Gem Enhancement. And that's the whole Gem Knight thing. And now you can see why I talked about Rock, because it's Adamantimators, which is the other engine that you can play a whole Gem Knight form of. So that's why I have Researcher, Analyzers in here, Guardian, Taco Crusader, Rock Band, Xenocatar, and Gate Blocker. And on its way are Supplier, Sandman, Power Loader, Seeker, one of each of the Adamantimator crystals, and Revival Golem. And then my new recently obtained Malice cards, which thank you again for Fish for getting me. Malice P Mark Chairs, White Rabbit, Dormouse, Underground, Cheesy Cat. I know this deck has been popular for a minute, but I never had the deck or played it until now. Like, I've only, like, tried it out in Master Duel, but I've had the deck just sitting here because I've just never really had it, really a desire to play it outside of testing. But backup at Ignister, Wizard at Ignister, and Dotscaper. 1 of each of the traps, TB07, TB11, and GWC. All have crazy things. Then I have Chibi Galaxy Eyes in here because I don't know where to put it. 2 copies of... This is a new type from the... I basically call this all part of the Fairy Dragon deck. I just didn't have anywhere else to put it, being honest with you. But this is Fairy Tale Prologue Journey's Dawn. 3 Wanku Noble Knight of the Forest. 3 copies of World of Spirits. Spore the Fairy Seeds. Regulus the Fairy Beast. 3 Kuribon the Fairy Beast. Fairy Spirit. 1 Kuribon. 3 Eternal Sunshine. 3 copies of... I'm gonna mess this guy's name up. Kamanumitsuye no Tamiyaraya. And Onomatopia, which is for the Utopia stuff, but didn't have room for it back there. Gold Sarcophagus, because it's used in Malice. And on the back is just some cards that I thought were cool, but it's going to get filled out with some more stuff when I get a chance to it. Ugh. 2 more binders to go. Alright, this one is pretty much my off-beaten ones. Like, this is deck cores that I have, but I really don't dabble in that much. But if I ever comes up, I have them. There's actually only 1 deck core in here. Well, technically 2. All the same type related wise. That I've actually ever used outside of, like, off-beaten ones. This is the Allure Queen one. This came out of Maze of the Masters. Got some updated support. Pulled the whole deck. Haven't touched it or used an engine. But I have it. 3 Allure Palace. 2 7s, 2 5s, 2 3s. 3 Chaos Lure Queen, 3 copies of Allure Dance. I have Dragon Buster Destruction Sword down here because you can actually discard it of a queen and equip Destruction Sword onto it. And then Destruction Sword means if it's equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot switch to a monster from the extra deck. So it's actually a hand lock. 2 copies of Link Monster Golden Lure Queen. Then I have Dragon Rulers. This is one of the deck archetypes that I've actually taken out of this that is off-beaten, technically, because it's like rarely used in competitive nowadays, but it is still competitive. Here, there be dragons. 3 copies of Steam Dragon Ruler of Water, Dragon Ruler of Droplets. 3 copies of Spectral Dragon Ruler of Flickers. And on the next page, 2 copies of Reactin. 2 Lightning Dragon Ruler of Dress. 2 copies of Burner Dragon Ruler of Sparks. 3 copies of Waterfalls. 2 triple copies of Redox. Triple Blaster, Double Tempest, 1 Nebulous. It's my Dragon Ruler set. I know I could get a 3rd copy of Tempest, the 3rd copy of each one of the Dragon Ruler babies, but I never needed to. And then basically Dragon Link. There's Tracer, Researcher, Quick Launch, Dragunity Remus, which I actually just got a hold of recently, which I found out to be a really good card for Dragon Link. Dragon Ravine, Ringo Worm, Caliber, Albzer Router, Boot Sector Launch, Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon, Double Leviathan, Triple Starly Seifert, Black Metal Dragon, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Double Collapse, Double White Dragon Wyver Buster, 1 Plat Secret of each and 1 regular of each, Noctovision, and then Dragon Maids. Come in the mail, 2 extra more copies of Dragon Maid Churmbra, which is the new one, and will be outcased in a profile when I get the other one from the mail. Chamber Dragon Maids. I had original ones from like Rarity Collection, but I'm trying to upgrade all the ones to the stamp. Parlor, I have 1 gold, 1 stamped, and 1 regular from Mystic Fighters. I don't know whether or not I'm going to replace all 3 with stamped or replace these 2 with 1 from Mystic Fighter. I don't know what I'm going to do yet on that. But there's the other golden ones, which I've had from Maximum Gold. Triple Kitchen, 2 Nurse, 1 Laundry. Triple copies of Dragon Maid Tidying from Rarity 04. And then I will not upgrading the main Dragon Maid level 7s and 8s with the stamped ones because I actually like the ones that come from my Mystic Fighters. Like Tinkek and the one which actually used outside of Dragon Maid, which is Lorpar because it's an actual monster negate. We have Downtime over here and World Legacy Guard Dragon. If you know why this is in here, good for you. It's for Dragon Link. Dragon Maid New Diral and Dragon Maid Uranus. Double Dragon Maid Changeover. 1 copy of Dragon Maid Welcome. Triple Hospitality. And triple Dragon Maid Sendoff. Peak. The Chaos Dragons, which is used for fusion to make Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, but also really good in Dragon Maid, which is why they're here. Light End Sublimation, Dark End Evaporation, and Dark Dragons, Light and Darkness. Metal Foes. Probably one of the funnest pendulum decks I've ever used before I got my hands on Zark. I actually posted a profile of Metal Foes on my channel because I actually did well with it in a YuGiOh event back when Artifact Scythe was on band. Like I was doing Scythe Lock with oh my god, Adventure, Dark Magician, Metal Foe, Scythe. I don't even remember what else was used in that deck. It's so old. But yeah. Stelians, Bismo Gears, Volflame, Sylvards, Melcaster, Gold Driver, Vanishers, 2 forms, Parametal Foes, Metal Foes Fusion, Adamantine, Full Metal Foes Fusion, Azor Telis, Crimsonite, Mytherium, Orichalc. 3 combination, 3 copies of counter. Nordics, one of my second favorite decks to come out of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I love ancient mythology, Greek mythology, Zeus, and all that other stuff. And this is right up there with all of that. Double Odin, double Thor, double Loki. Triple Hippo Carnival in here for the effect of Golveg. Nordic Relic, Hydrogaf, Svalian. Sorry, I had to catch my breath. I'm going to, for the sake of time, speed things up. So I'm just going to showcase them now and rest my voice. Sorry if you wanted me to go through them, but I need to save my voice. This is Heraldic Beasts. Another mini copy of Primites. My playset for Albazoa, one of my favorite ritual monsters. Salamigrates and Dogmatica stuff. Draco Slayers. This card's great in Pendulum, period. Symphonics. My Dangers. Gear Force Launchers. Salamander Catalyzer. And then my band page. Oh, I don't know why my voice gets shot every time I do this. I guess I'm going to have to save my zombie deck, my zombie binder for when I go through the Edison stuff. Because technically some of the old zombie stuff is part of Edison, but not all of it in that zombie binder is Edison. But I got to go. My voice is shot. I'll catch you guys for when I do that Edison stream of my profiling. Bye.